All right. Glad to have everybody here. Good to have the Facebook folks, Facebook family, those who are streaming on live on Facebook. Also want to let you know that I'll be streaming on live on, hey, happy Sabbath, Phil. Good to see you, my brother. I'll be streaming live also on YouTube Live. I'm going to have a presentation going up very shortly. Tonight's going to be very interesting because we're going to continue our subject on relationships. Last week we were Love and Relationships Part 1, Series 1, where we spoke about courtship. Very good. We spoke about courtship. So, which means tonight we will be speaking about marriage. So from courtship to the marriage. I'm going to say something else, but let me keep it right. From courtship to marriage, we're going to go there. And we're going to start with the beginning. Now, anytime we talk about marriage, you got to find an origin, right? So we can't start somewhere in the middle. We got to start somewhere in the beginning and then work our way through, because we're going to talk a lot about what's really good about marriage and like what's really bad about marriage. I hear more bad things about marriage than I hear of good things, as to why a lot of people are afraid to get married, because they hear more horror stories about marriage than they do about the good things. Okay? Creed, you got less than 3 seconds. Go. Okay, baby. All right. When she was little, she didn't know she was good. All right. Okay, so we're going to kick it off with Love and Relationships, Part 2, Marriage, the Sacred Honor. And let me get this keyboard right quick. All right, from the beginning. And then I'm going to share my screen to make sure that everyone online can see what I'm seeing. All right. They don't
Wait,
have to
Larry,
see
you
me.
didn't pray.
I know I didn't pray yet. Yeah, you're right. Thank you very much for reminding me. I'm going to get that done. All right. Can we all see the screen?
Yeah.
Online, can you see the screen? Yes, no, maybe so?
Yeah.
I don't see
All
the
right.
screen yet.
You don't see the screen yet? Push it hard. Can you get that for me, please? Okay, we're going to go ahead and pray as soon as everybody comes in, because I don't want to pray while they're still walking in. So again, Love and Relationships Part 2, Marriage, the Sacred Honor. We're going to go ahead and get kicked off in a couple seconds. As soon as everybody comes in and settles in. All right, who's that?
Ian.
That's Ian? Okay. All right. Let us bow our heads and close our eyes for a word of prayer real quickly.
Larry, there's something wrong with your audio.
Something is wrong with my audio?
Yeah, it sounds all fuzzy.
Oh boy. Put your foot on, please. I tell you, if there's gonna be one thing that's gonna happen today, it's gonna be this, right? And I'm live right now.
Larry, your audio is good. Melissa, you sound choppy.
Audio is good. Melissa sounds choppy. What's going on?
Melissa sound like a robot.
Melissa, call back. Dial back in, Melissa. Try dialing back in, Melissa. Good night. We're just about to pray. So get a chair. There you go. Good evening. How are you, my good friend? I thank you so much for the morning love and the morning text and message. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. It really brightens my day. It does. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Let's okay, just sit down, and I don't want a lot of movements, okay? Daddy hasn't eaten a lot today. My brain is a little scattered. Okay? Thank you. I would not know whether you're a fly or a person. All right? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, yes. Let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, I want to thank you so much for the Sabbath as we're about to get into your word and get into relationships, something that a lot of folks have questions about. We can't cover everything tonight, but what we could cover, I pray that we get something out of it. This is going to be a 3-part series within the series of family and the home. This marriage piece is going to really, if it's done correctly, can change lives. So Lord, we just pray that we have the unction of the Holy Spirit. Guide us in your word. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, so here we are. Love and relationships, marriage, the sacred honor. Why is it called sacred? What's your question? And Ian, I'm going to need everybody who's participating to speak up because those online want to hear what you got to say.
They can really hear you.
Okay.
The volume on the.
Yeah, my volume is up here, but that doesn't. You're not. That's not a microphone.
I know.
Yeah, it's over here. So I need you to speak up. Project. Yes. I know no one wants to sit in the hot seat, but it's okay. It's all right. Question, sir.
Okay. The question is: can we have a messed up marriage and a good walk with God?
No. That's a blatant no. You said just ask your own question. Can we have a messed up marriage and a good walk with God? How bad is your marriage? Well, I'm beating up my wife and, I'm feeding my kids. The Bible clearly says if you neglect your home, then you are neglecting God's word, period. If you neglect your home, there's no light in you. And that goes towards, it's pointing to the fathers. The fathers are a lot in the home.
Because I think that's where the love of God has to show.
It has to come from, yes. Has to come from. The number one problem in marriage today is just throw it out there. The number one problem in marriage, finances. The number one problem in marriage today is, can you speak up, ma'am? Lack of trust. The number one problem online, the number one problem in marriage today is, okay, everybody's blank. On Facebook, the number one problem in marriage today is, type your answers in, hit the hearts, let me know that you're actually there and listening. Lack of trust, communicate. You said finances.
Yeah, finances, adultery.
Say it again.
Finances and adultery.
Finances and adultery.
Lack of intimacy.
Jeff said adultery. Lack of intimacy. The number one problem. She put two together, didn't she?
There's no God.
God is not in it. Okay. Abby, number one problem, Abby. You just observing?
I'm trying to understand
where's it going?
It's going because obviously I have a different.
Okay, that's fine. Give me the number one problem in marriage, though.
They already said everything. So I'm just,
you sure?
Yeah.
There's not one. I mean, stink socks, muddy feet, nothing.
Bad cooking.
Bad cooking. I mean, nothing. That's not the number one problem. Okay. The number one problem in marriage today is what they call this title says communication. Very good. Good open communication is the top need in marriage. Nothing is as easy as talking. Nothing is as difficult as communicating. Talking is a part of communication, right? But is talking communicating? Not necessarily. Okay. But it is a part of communication, correct?
It is.
Okay.
You're speaking the same language.
The language is the same. That's one dependency there, right? Because you can be talking to me and I don't understand what you're saying. That means you're not really talking to me. Okay. All right. Using words correctly and skillfully is an important part of communication. But even more important is that both husband and wife have a willingness to communicate in ways that result in deeper honesty and openness. What are some of the punchline words in that one paragraph?
Correct. You say words correctly.
Correctly. Okay. What
Skillfully.
else? Skillfully. That means you got to master. You got to be masterful with your words.
Right.
I'll say willingness.
Willingness.
Because willingness is attached a little bit to patience as well.
Okay.
And she said I gotta have patience to actually listen to the other person. So,
Okay.
so I'll say patience. Well, willingness.
Willingness to. Okay.
Honesty and openness.
Honesty and openness. Okay. I think the one word that kind of puts all the link together is willingness. Because without the will, there's no way. Right? So very good. All right. So let's who has their Bibles on them? Let's go back to the origin. Hey, Chris. What's going on, Chris? Hey.
Hey, my friend Kelvin
Uh-huh.
on YouTube, and he said he answered your question. Oh, Shimon,
Yeah, so tell Kelvin, he answered my question on YouTube in the YouTube, but that's going straight to the YouTube video comments. Yeah, if he wants to answer the question, is he on Facebook too?
I don't know all that.
So ask me.
Are you on
Facebook.
Facebook?
Are you on Facebook, Kelvin? You can join us on Facebook Live. You can also post your questions there. You can watch on both sides if you have two different types of devices. Okay, so let's go back to your origin. Genesis chapter 2, 7 and 8, 18 through 20. Let's go back to the origin. Okay, I want to discuss this a little bit so that way we have an idea of where we're going. And Abby, Damien, and I had a conversation about this earlier this week, did we not? Okay, all right. Now I'm still waiting for some of the stuff that you're supposed to send me. Okay.
I think that we're going to discuss that.
You think so?
Off the record.
Off the record. Not tonight. We're going to do that tonight, but we'll do that off the record.
There's not going to be any video, but you believe in certain things.
That's fine, and that's okay.
I think we believe in the same thing. It's just the way around is just a little different.
Really? Well, we'll see. We'll see. All right. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7 to 8. And the Lord formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul. So two things are in man. So one thing is in man. He's formed within, two things are a part of man. Dust and what? And he's now a living soul. Body that's nice and warm. And the Lord planted a garden eastward in Eden. And there he put the man whom he had formed. That's verse 8. Then we skip down to verse 18. And the Lord said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet for him. Verse 20 says, and Adam gave names to all the cattle and to the fowl of the air and to every beast of the field. But for Adam, there was not found a helpmeet for him. Okay, was he looking? Was Adam looking for someone? Yes, he was looking for someone. He was searching to see who this person was. Right? Genesis chapter 2, verse 21 through 25, continue on. And the Lord caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed the flesh instead thereof, and the rib which the Lord had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her to the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother, and cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And verse 25, which is very important. And they were both naked, his wife, and they were not ashamed. How many wives did Adam have?
One.
So did God believe in polygamy?
No.
No, because he understood that if Adam had two, there'll be a what? A problem. Okay? All right. All right. Okay, so verse 25 is really important. A lot of us kind of skip over verse 25 and they're like, oh, they're just naked and covered with glory and leave it as that. But here it is that verse 25 says they were both naked. If you're naked in front of each other, what is there between the two of you?
But it's true, right?
Love. Love.
Intimacy.
What?
Transparency.
What'd you say? Transparency. Ooh, very good word. They were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. Not at their bodies, that they were both naked. They weren't ashamed of that, but they were not ashamed of the fact that each one of them had everything out on the table. Nothing to fear from one another or hide. You can't hide nothing, right? So they were not ashamed of anything because everything was out there and it was what? Pure. Okay, I like the word transparency. That's a very good word. Let's now go back in the day. Back in the day, after the earth with its teeming animal and vegetable life had been called into existence by God, man, the crowning work of the Creator, and one from whom the beautiful earth had been fitted up, was brought upon the stage of action. To him was given dominion over all that his eye could behold. For God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over all the earth. So God created man in his own image. Male and female created he them. Here is clearly set forth the origin of the human race. And the divine record is so plainly stated that there is no occasion for erroneous conclusions. God created man in his own image. Here is no mystery. Okay? After the creation of Adam, every living creature was brought before him to receive its name. Right? The lion, the lioness, the cougar, the bear. He saw that to each had been given a companion. There was two of there was a lion and then a lioness. There was the bear, Mrs. Bear, and then there was Papa Bear, and then there was, you know, the kangaroo and Mr. Kangaroo. Everyone had a pair. Okay. Among all the creatures that God had made on earth, there was not one equal to man. And God said, it is not good that a man should be alone. I will make a helpmeet for him. So man was not made to dwell in solitude. Why? Why wasn't man made to dwell in solitude? He needed companionship. Why wasn't man made to live in solitude? Anyone on Facebook can answer that. Folks
Because
on
the
YouTube.
world had to populate.
Because the world had to populate. All right. Well, man is a what? A social creature. Right? He's a social being. Hence Facebook and Pinterest and all the other social stuff out there, because people like to talk to people.
Now, when you think about it, why are worse?
Huh?
Punishment that a person can get while they're locked up.
Say it again, say it again.
Being solitary.
Say it again. Oh, one of the worst punishments. Right.
I want to put them in solitary, cannot communicate with people out there by themselves.
Right.
And people will tell you that it messed them up mentally.
It creates a psycho. What's the scientific word for that? Ooh, no. Like a psychosomatic. Huh? Yeah. Psychosomatic is a word,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm looking for.
I was just.
I mean,
It makes you go crazy. It does. It can make you do things.
Right.
There's a movie that I watched, and it was called Passengers. And the ship went through, of course, it's traveling through space, and they're going to an whole other planet, and they're going to a planet called Homestead. 2. Interesting. The ship gets hit by asteroids, and it damages what they call one of the sleep pods, hibernation pods. The hibernation pod opens up, and the guy wakes up 90 years too early. Okay? And he's on the ship, everyone is sleeping, he's by himself. He ends up spending a year by himself on the ship. He eventually was about to take his life and just go out onto the deck of the outside, well, out in space. He couldn't because the way the pod works, you can't go back to sleep. So he's gonna, because once you open up, you're supposed to open up a couple months before you get to the place. So when you get off the ship, you're up and you go to sleep regularly at the place. So once that happened, hey, once that took place, now it was messy for him. So he's about to jump out into space and just kill himself. But then while he was walking, he saw a beautiful lady sleeping in her pod.
So he woke her up?
There you go.
Oh my goodness. You didn't let the lady sleep?
No.
Why?
But he should have been doing his own fucking thing. Really? That's no. I would have done the same thing.
You done woke him up?
Yes.
Because you by your what?
No.
So man was not made to dwell in what? Solitude. He was not made to dwell by himself because he's a social being. Okay? Without companionship, the beautiful scenes and delightful employments of Eden would have failed to yield perfect happiness. Even communion, watch this. Look how deep this is. Even communion with angels could not have satisfied his desire for sympathy and companionship. There was none of the same nature to love and to be loved. So even though the angels were communing with Adam, speaking with, this is the angels now. Jesus, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man.
Sorry about that. I had missed your call.
A lot of them. Okay. Even though Adam was communing with the angels, right? Jesus himself, God himself, he still yearned for what? Companionship, love from someone who was just like him. So we're building a case here. You see that he was by himself. He named all the animals, and he became, I wouldn't say lonely because he had. You think he was lonely? You think he was lonely?
That's why he woke her up. He didn't not sleep.
We talking about Adam.
Oh,
She's stuck in the ship. You say it again now?
I said he was lonely. That's the reason.
Would you use the word lonely when you have in a perfect world?
Yes.
God was speaking to Adam every day.
No, okay, so you see animals, right? And
Yeah.
they're being affectionate with each other.
Right,
In
right.
a perfect world.
Right.
Don't you want somebody?
Because they were already procreating,
Right.
right.
Wouldn't you want somebody else to be affectionate with? Wouldn't you want to think, oh, I can have children? Wouldn't you want to say, hey, I want this person that I
But come on, okay, now here's the thing. There was a promise to Adam before he named the animals. If you go back to verse 18, the Bible says that, and God said that man should not be alone. I will create a helpmeet for him. And then Adam is now naming the animals, and he's checking them, but he doesn't see anyone. So God did give him a promise. The promise did not come exactly when Adam expected it to come. Okay? All right. Woo! Hey, Marcia, good night. Happy Sabbath, fam. So, we understand that Adam, without the companionship, even the angels, it didn't matter. He was still, as you use the word lonely, I would use the word that he was, yeah, he was chilling.
No, he wasn't chilling. You're not chill when you see all of that stuff going on and you're wondering like,
He wasn't impatient though. He waited. Anyway, so God himself gave Adam a companion. He provided an helpmeet for him. I always wonder why the English word is A-N, not A, but A-N. Because it shows that there is a action to the relationship, okay? And helpmeet for him, a helper corresponding to him, one who was fitted to be his companion, and one who could be one with him in love and sympathy. Eve was created from a rib taken from the side of Adam, signifying that she was not to control him as the head, nor to be trampled under his feet as the inferior, but to stand by his side as a what? Bull. To be loved and protected by whom? Okay. All right. It hurts. So good. There's something that Steve Harvey said one day. I was listening to the radio. I don't listen to the radio no more, but he has said something about the 3 P's that a man's supposed to have: profess, protect, and provide. Those are the 3 things that a man's supposed to do: profess his love to his wife and family, protect his family, and to provide for the family. Right? I've noticed that there has been a change or a swing in the pendulum. I've noticed that more men, more and more, have become lazy. And we're not doing the provisionary things that we're supposed to do. And we're not really protecting the way that we're supposed to do. And protection doesn't come from me ready to fight the next dude for my wife. That's not just the protecting part. Protection of the family is to see ahead as to protecting them from the falling of sin. Crickets. Let that one sink in for a second. The man supposed to be a protector of his family, seeing where the danger is, because once he's in tune with God, he'll be able to see the danger and know my family does not belong there. And to protect them from the snare of the evil one. Then he's supposed to be professing his love. The husband, which is also called the house band, bands the home together with a sheath of love, or a ribbon of love. You know how you take a box of chocolate, you put all the chocolates in there and you cover the heart, and what's the last thing you put on the box of chocolate? A bow. That's the husband. All the chocolates is the kids and everything else. The wife covers it all, and then the husband goes, I'm gonna wrap it up in love. That's the analogy of what the husband's supposed to be like. So that's what that was predicting and showing. A part of man, bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh. The woman is the man's second self. Why is that, Devontae? Why is she his second self? And I provided the hint just a second ago.
I think that's actually just going to be, you know, so they can.
Okay.
Like he's actually.
Oh, what?
She came from.
She came from him.
Oh, yeah.
Ah. See, when he went from a deep sleep. Don't let that slip. Deep sleep. Eve was brought out from where? Adam. So the woman is begotten of the man. Just like, So Christ is God's second self. If you've seen the Father, if you've seen me, you've seen the. That's why God says, my only begotten son. So if the wife happens to die, the husband would say, that was my only begotten wife. Because she was begotten from me. Very good, Autumn. Very good. Very good. Very good. Showing the close union, very good, Autumn and Creed, and affectionate. Now, you see how these two words keep interchanging, right? Affection and union. Affection and union. Attachment that should exist in this relation, for no man has ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourishes it, and he does what? So, for the man who thinks to love himself, but doesn't take care of his family, who is he hurting? That he doesn't love himself. For yet a man has never hated himself, but he loves it and he nourishes it. And that means if you can do that, you're not talking about yourself, you're talking about the second self. Any questions? No? Does everybody understand what I'm saying online? Those who are, hey Camacho, how you doing? Those who are on Facebook Live, we're talking about love and relationship part 2, marriage. That's sacred honor. The first marriage happened where? The Garden of Eden. Who officiated that marriage? God himself. What day was that? On the 6th day. Very good. Back in the day, as man came forth from the hand of his creator, he was lofty stature and perfect symmetry. I would have loved to see that, because there's a lot of men that women are going for. Had they seen Adam, and there's a lot of men that are going, for. Oh, more like this. Mouth drop. You know, was that Friday? Everybody goes this way. There's a lot of women. Now, I've always said this, if God has made anything better than a woman, if he's made anything better than a woman, he must have kept it for himself. Had to. Because the woman has been the man's downfall. The woman has also been the man's upkeep. But at the same time, his greatest downfall. Am I wrong? Am I right? Undefeated. Huh? Undefeated. His countenance, his face, bore the ruddy. Now, if you have some time, I want you to look up the word ruddy. Now, on your phones, Google the word R-U-D-D-Y. Look it up. And I want you to tell me, what color is that? His countenance bore the ruddy red. Ah. Okay. Ruddy tint of health and glowed with the light of life and joy. So we know what color Adam was. We definitely know what color Eve was. Okay? It's funny because the red man has populated this earth over all the continents. In every continent, the red man was, and is, and still is. Question is, who's the red man? They look Indian in nature. That's the reason why, and somebody can tell me if I'm wrong, but when folks came, as they say, Christopher Columbus came to America, discovered America.
No, when he came to the western side, western.
Western?
Yes, it was a whole. The Caribbean was included too.
Of course it was included. Why is it called the Carib? Because of the Indians.
And even if you go to South
Speak
America
up, sir.
right now, you'll still find red Indians.
Of course.
Yeah, you'll still find-
They were there in South America. They were there in the Caribbean. They were there in America. They were there in the North.
Yeah,
They call them, what do they call them, Eskimos?
yeah. Eskimos, yeah.
They all look the same. And they're still there today. And now you go down to Mexico, they all look the same. Mexicans are just really the what? Who were the what? Indians.
Yeah.
It's because of the Spaniards that came into that region that they taught everybody how to speak their language, and now Spanish became the #1 language in that region. But it was the Aztecs. And you go further down to Argentina, and all of this is down towards the, what do they call it, South Pole? All of them are what? Red. When you go out to Australia and you go to New Zealand, and the Aborigines are what? Dark what? Indians.
Yeah.
So they're all over the place. All over the place. It's amazing how genealogy is so important for us to know. Because we can get caught up in a lot of different stuff if we don't know our history and genealogy. He was red, a red tint of health, and glowed with the light of the life of joy. Adam's height was much greater than that of men who now inhabit the earth today. I read something where Adam was 18 feet and Eve was at 16 feet. I still hear it, I don't know. That's why they were called giants in those days. You see, because in Genesis chapter 6, the Bible said they were what? There were giants in those days. What if Adam was 18? Shucks, I play basketball. The basketball goal is how tall? 10 feet. Okay, he's looking down 8 feet above the goal. And when we are playing basketball, we're looking up to the goal. There's a tall guy who plays for college. He's 7'6". And that's still nothing because he still looks up to the basket. So that's amazing. And you got to understand what his stature looked like. If God took a rib out of Adam, this dude's chest must have been out here. He must have been like, this dude was swole.
Ellen White said too that when they
Speak up, my brother. I got people online listening to you.
Ellen White said too that like when they actually come back to life, we're going to see that you're going to already have like
The original body.
original body,
Mhm.
and then we're going
We're gonna be up to them.
yeah, we're going to see how much bigger they are than us.
Wow.
In Maranatha,
They're going to already have it.
Adam is much taller. So yeah, she describes. She said that Adam is going to say Christ, because he knows Christ.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to say, where are these?
Who are these people? But he's gonna be looking down at who are these people? This is your generation, the little midgets. And a little dwarf comes up there, little midget, like, hey, who's that? Yes, until we eat of the tree of life. Then we come back to what our original stature was supposed to be. But imagine that. That height. There's hope. There's hope. Eve was somewhat less in stature, yet her form was noble. Her form was noble. Eve's stature, though somewhat less than Adam's, her form was noble and full of beauty. Now, again, I say, if God had made anything better than a woman, he must have kept it for himself. I would imagine. I can only imagine what Eve looked like. I mean, if men today had to see the Eve of then,
They just dropped it.
I mean, we talk about supermodels, not models, but supermodels. Has anyone ever made it to the supermodel status? Super times 2?
What is that?
No. Ultra.
Ultra model. No. That's when you look better than the supermodel. Right?
Oh.
The sinless pair wore no artificial garments. They were clothed with a covering of light and glory, such as the angels wear. So long as they lived in obedience to God, this robe of light continued to enshroud them. God celebrated the first marriage. Thus, the institution has for its originator the creator of the universe. The Bible says in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4, marriage is what? Marriage is what?
Honorable.
Honorable. It is one of the first gifts of God to man. And it is one of the 2 institutions that, after the fall, after sin came in, Adam brought with him beyond the gates of paradise, outside the gates of Eden. Marriage continued on. That's why today we're doing what? We're still getting married. Now look how bad it has gotten because of sin. People marrying their dogs, their cats, their own children. Yes.
Oh, man, I saw that.
The 8-year-old.
Oh, man.
I think that's been going on since.
No, that's been going on for a while.
Oh, that's been going on for a long time. That's pagan.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know, before.
It's long before we come to this point.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Lord planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. Everything that God had made was the perfection of beauty. But something happened. Something happened. Let's take a look and see what actually happened. For those of us online, let's go to our Bibles, Genesis chapter 3, verse 6 through 7, and then 9 through 10. For those of us on YouTube, Genesis chapter 3, verses 6 through 7, and then verses 9 through 10. What happened? Marriage was honorable. Marriage was good. They were naked. They had nothing to hide. Everything was out in the open. Perfect. But what happened? What happened, Jillian? That's exactly what happened. That right there is what happened. Everybody has it? Hope for those online, again, Genesis 3, 6 through 7, and 9 to 10. Verse 6 says, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of both of them were now what? Opened. And they knew that they were what? Well, hold on. Are we all there, guys? Are we all there? Lord, keep us and keep our minds focused, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen. Let's be focused. I'll see you up again. Let's be focused. Out your mouth, please. And the eyes of them were both what? Open. And they knew that they were what? Naked. Verse 25 of chapter 2 said that they were what? Naked and not what? Ashamed. That means at this point, in verse 6, they were now what? Ashamed. Something happened. Their eyes are now open, and they notice each other are what? Their nakedness. But was it their actual nakedness that they noticed?
Yes, but there's another application for that, obviously.
Right. But was it just the physical nakedness that they noticed?
I would say yes and no.
You say yes and no, Melissa. Why would you say no?
Um, um, I would say yes because okay, the physical appearance was now being seen with the eye, and no because wait, repeat the question. I got lost just now.
I said, when they know when they know each other as being naked, was it just the nakedness that they saw? Was there the physical nakedness? Was that the only thing that they saw, or was there more than just the physical nakedness?
It was more. It was
More.
I can't really.
Okay.
It's, they
Okay.
they-
We're gonna go ahead. Yeah, Melissa.
oh I can't really explain it, but it was more that they were seeing because the sin opened their eyes to more. It's hard to explain, but yeah, I would say yes or no.
Okay, I just
Leave
messed
it at
up.
that.
I'm falling and I can't get up. All right, here we go. Keep it going. I'm back. Nah, it's on this little thing lever thing there. All right, so they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves what? Aprons. And the Lord called unto whom? And said unto him, where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was what? Again, here comes that word, naked. And I hid myself. Now, who did God call? Why did he not call Eve?
He was the first. He was on the second, right? But he was given as the head of that male. So he was responsible for all that happened with that family.
Yes, Odom? Because he's man. Good answer. You said what? Why did God speak to Adam first? Oh no, why he not first? But why was it Adam that he called out? Because he was in charge. Anyone else?
Well, he actually gave the commands to Adam.
Oh,
It was the woman.
before the woman was even made, Adam got instruction about the tree. That no one should eat thereof, for the day that you eat of it, you shall surely what? Die. Adam got the instruction. He had dominion over what? Everything. That's right. So it is his responsibility, even with the whom? The woman. As to the point that she should not even leave his. So he was supposed to protect whom? Thank you very much, Autumn. You're the one that's communing with me here. I thank you for that, Autumn. I like the one going back and forth because it shows that I'm not doing talking. All right. So let's break it down a little bit more. He says, and God says, where are you? Did God know where he was?
Yes.
So this is again a rhetorical what? Because he wanted to see how he was gonna respond. Go ahead. Okay, good. All right. So I was afraid because I was naked. What word did he use that showed an emotion?
Afraid.
So now when you're naked, things start to show. Naked and you see where they got the show from, right? That's right. You see where they got the TV show from, right? Naked and Afraid. There's a show called Naked and Afraid. No, that's Dated Naked. But Naked and Afraid is a TV show. Okay? And they always have a man and a woman on the show in the bushes.
But here's my question though. If he was always
Speak up, right?
having communion with God, right?
Right.
Why was he this time? Not just because he was thinking, but why was he afraid?
Because he went against what God asked of him. Just think about it, right? Your mother and father tells you, hey, Robert, don't do this. And they told you what the punishment is, right? So now, what are you thinking about? The consequences, right?
He didn't know it. He never seen it before.
That's true.
But hold on now. Ho.
Why I'm saying, why was he afraid?
Robert, he had open knowledge as to what took place beforehand. He had open knowledge. Remember, I'm gonna come to this because this is right after this. The warning came to whom? Adam. Woe unto the inhabitants. We're coming there. We're coming there. So he understood. He knew that once something happened with that, he understood that there was going to be some trouble. Come on, you talking about wisdom? This ain't how our mind's thinking here. Adam's intellect, 100% of his brain. We're using less than 5. For some men, that's less than 2% of our brain power. Are you kidding me that you don't think that he would not understand why he's going to be afraid? He knew exactly why he's going to. Adam, we're all down. When you hear that voice coming out of the breeze in the coolness of the day, and you got fig leaves on and you don't see the brightness around you, you're going to be afraid.
I mean, I remember how scared I was when I heard my dad's voice.
Exactly.
Imagine your creator.
The creator calling you out, Adam. And it's a smooth voice. It ain't no harsh. It's that Adam. And your whole body is shaking. Yes, Autumn, quickly.
If Adam loved God, why was he scared?
That's the same question I was asked before. And that's a very good question. And I'm going to show you why he was scared in a few seconds, okay?
How did she put that in the first place?
Obedience. You see, here it is. Are you a free moral agent? Are you a free moral agent? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes or no? I can't hear you. Yes, you are a free moral agent, right? You have the power of what? Choice. God gave you a choice to choose between good and evil. Okay? Because did he spare the angels? Does angels have the power? Are they free moral agents? Did he spare them? No, he did not. They had the power to do what? Choose. Was Lucifer an angel? He gave him a chance, did he not? And he had the power to do what? Choose. Creed, quickly. I gotta keep on moving.
If Adam loved God, he should love Eve.
That's right. Very good. Adam loves God, so he can love Eve. Good. All right. And the man said, now here's what's going on now. So now we see before they were living in a perfect world, they were naked and not ashamed. Now they're naked and ashamed, or naked and afraid. And here it is. God calls them out. Where are you? He goes to the man first. He doesn't come to the woman. He goes to the man first. And he says, talk to me. What's going on? So now Adam goes, the woman whom you gave me, she gave me of the tree and I ate. Now, what's the problem in that whole phrase?
He blaming him.
Who's he blaming?
He blaming God.
I was perfectly fine before you gave me this.
You always say that now. You're forgetting the fact that you were lonely. God gave you that woman.
Is that our problem with our marriage, though?
Right, but it's always somebody else's fault. It's never yours, right?
Right. Okay. So now he's blaming whom? The woman. But he's not only blaming the woman, he blamed, okay, so we get married, we meet the woman, before head over heels, in emotional passion. Last week we understood the difference between love and passion. And we are so engrossed with passion that we think we really love the person. We go through this whole passion state until we get to the altar, and in passion we say, I do. Then we go through a year and a half of passion honeymoon. And all of a sudden, one day, we wake up, and all of a sudden, passion is gone. And we are facing real life. And now things start to happen. And now we go into the closet and tell God, this woman you gave me is killing me. She's eating me out of my house and home. She's terrorizing my life. This is reality, isn't it? This is not how it happens. Am I the only one who says that on the phone? No?
You would have said it in your confidence.
Am I talking? Hurry up, Autumn, hurry up.
If you're saying that, that means you don't love
Your wife.
whoever you're saying that.
You know, you're very intelligent. That's very right. That's very right. Creed, when she says something, you gotta say something. Hurry up.
And if you don't love people, you have to love them.
That's right. That's right. So the repetitions as Adam did, we're doing the same thing today. Right? Did Adam take responsibility? No. No. So, and the Lord said to the woman, what is it that you have done? What is that thou hast done? And what did the woman do? The serpent tricked me. Beguiled means trick. And I did eat. So one points to God and to the woman. The woman can't point to God because he can't say, the woman cannot tell God it is because of the serpent you created. She can't do that. Well, she did say that in a certain way, did she not? The serpent tricked me?
The serpent, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So indirectly, she's blaming God for the serpent, right?
No.
That's
She said, what is it that thou hast done?
Satan is
And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me. And
Yeah, but
she wasn't blaming.
indirectly,
Serpent come from?
where did the serpent come
Who made
from?
that serpent?
Who made the serpent?
Okay.
So, go ahead. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Indirectly, you're still murmuring or blaming God for the serpent who tricked you. Quickly.
the angel who made the serpent is Satan.
We'll talk about that later. I'm going to explain that to you later, okay? Because he manifested himself to use the serpent to trick Eve. Because the serpent back then was very beautiful. It is still beautiful today. Have you seen a snake today? They're very nice and colorful. They're long. Some of them are really long and big. Some of them are 50 feet long. Some of them are 2 feet short. But 2 feet long. But you know, they have very pretty colors, nice shaping designs. But God says that on their belly they shall crawl for the rest of their life. And that's what they've been doing on their belly all the rest of their lives. Okay, so what did God do? Who did God curse first?
Adam.
No,
The woman.
the serpent.
Give it in the order which it came.
Exactly. He gave it in the order of which it happened. The serpent beguiled Eve, and Eve beguiled her husband. So what God did, which is infinite wisdom, he went to the serpent first. You all know the story about that you shall crawl in your belly and okay? Now, very good. Then he comes unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow in what? Childbirth. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. Here it is in today's world and the world before. Women have been blaming men every single day for the pain of childbearing. You don't know my pain. You don't see what I go through.
But it's true.
But that's not our fault.
I get it. It is your fault. You should have listened to Eve.
No matter what, somebody got to be responsible for what happened. And it always comes back to whom? The man.
Ultimately, really though, from God's perspective,
Mhm.
he called Adam.
It's the man.
Because he gave
Adam instruction, right?
To protect and to make sure that this person
Did
is.
you know she was supposed to last time?
I was gonna say, did we talk about that?
Yes, I'm coming back. I'm coming back to that. You're right. Go ahead, Autumn. You have to be quick, okay?
I think why Satan wanted to do that is because God was he thought God was bossy to the good angels that were his. He thought that the angels didn't need help from God because they could do whatever they want. Then he drew a picture of God that was not God.
That was not good. Exactly. You're right about that. You're very right about that. This girl has been studying her great controversy. Okay?
That's why.
Okay. All right. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and your desire. We have to break that word down real quickly, okay? Your desire shall be to who? Your husband, and he shall rule over you.
Here's my question though. Well, here's my question.
That's a toe cruncher.
No, here's my question.
Go ahead.
So God created Adam first, and He gave His rules to Adam first.
Right.
Eve sinned, and then He said, "Eve, you will now have to bow down to your husband will rule over you."
Not bow down, but your husband will rule over
Your
you.
husband will rule over you.
Mhm.
My thing about it is, why should you allow him to rule over her at this point when you are the one He gave him the commands?
That's a good question.
He did not take you.
No,
He
because
gave
of
him
the
the command.
punishment, right? So everybody.
Yeah, but he also I read.
Hold on, Melissa. Hold on.
Everybody had their punishment because of what they did. Because everyone played a role in the disobedience.
I got that, but why did she get that punishment?
So obviously you left your husband, in my mind, right? You left your husband's side, right? And you did what you wanted to do.
Did she have a choice?
Of course she had a
Did
choice.
she make a choice?
Of course
She chose.
Right. So because she made that choice and went and did her thing, whatever you decide, whatever God decides is punishment enough because of your own disobedience, right? And here goes the devil, the devil using the serpent to actually do something. If you were truly with God as a creator, you wouldn't have allowed the devil to use you to then do what you do. And here goes a man, right? You did not keep your wife beside you. Here's what you're gonna do.
Here's your punishment. Okay, but that's a good question. And I'm gonna take what Deisha said, I'm gonna put it in a little wrapper and I'm gonna hold it because I'm coming to that too. Okay? Good answer, Deisha, good answer. Now,
Can I?
the husband shall rule with desire. What does the word desire mean?
What does it mean that he shall rule over her?
Oh, well, remember, how were they made before? She was made out of his what? That she should not be or be trampled under foot, but she should be as to him.
So hasn't changed here. What you read a while ago.
It did.
How?
It did change.
Because now he has to rule over her.
It went from what? What's that? It went from being equal to now being less than equal. Simply because of the agency of which she became. Watch this. I'm coming to that. The agent of which she became is the problem. That's the answer. I'm gonna get a little deeper into that. The word desire, what does that mean? Now, it's not what you think it means, if you think that's what it means. Want. I like that. I like that word. The want. Everything will now be from your husband. Your want, your need is going to come from your husband. Huh? A man trouble. And even if they have a man, it's still man trouble. Whether they don't have a man, there's still man trouble. And guess what? When those who don't want it, but I don't need a man, they themselves become a Man trouble. Ooh, man, the cycle is bad. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of your wife. That means a lot. Let's just stop right here for a second. Because you have listened to the voice of your wife, which means whose voice were you supposed to be listening to in the first place? I told you not to touch. You should be listening to me. However, you want to listen to your wife. And if you know better, you should do better. I've always said that to myself. And has eaten of the tree of which I commanded to whom? You. See how it works out now? I commanded to you, saying, you shall not eat. Man, when I read this thing, before when I used to read it, was like kind of over the layer. But I mean, I had to sit down and really think about it for a second. God gave him a direct command. And he says, not your wife. He didn't say anything about Eve eating the fruit. He says, you shall not eat of it. Oh, man. It had more weight. It meant something. God says, because you listened to your wife and you ate of the tree which I told you not to eat of. Saying this, and he repeats what he says, you, Adam, you, the man, shall not eat of it, because the day you eat of it, you shall surely die. That's the reason why when Eve ate the fruit, absolutely nothing happened to her in terms of death. God never came to her through the cool of the day and say, Eve. He wouldn't even bother. He would probably put her to sleep. I don't know, maybe, and dissolve her body back into the dust, and Adam back to sleep, and another person came up, and he never would know the difference. But here we are today. Adam is the one.
Wait, if he knew the wife,
Huh?
that's what Ellen White said. He knew that she was going to die, so he actually.
Watch this. Very good. As you did. What you say? If he knew what?
Like the apple, like if he knew that it was from the tree, like,
why did he do it? Right? We will see. What do you do when you see a pretty girl? All day long. Man, you've been panting, sweating, palms wet, feet all stink because they're just soaking in your shoes. I don't know what's happening, baby. Thorns and thistles shall. Wait. Let's go back for a second. Let's see the curse.
17.
He says, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for your sake. In sorrow, thou shalt eat of it all the days of your life. That means our work. What came from the ground for us? What comes from the ground for us? Food. And God cursed the ground. That means he made it harder for food to grow. We have to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard for food to grow. He says, thorns also and thistles shall bring forth to you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. The original diet was what? Fruits and grains. Now he's saying that this is exactly, we got to deal with this. Eat of it. In your sweat of your face shalt thou eat bread. In order for us to get bread, to buy bread, how hard do we have to work? Hard. Till thou return unto the ground, for out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust you shall return. Very good.
That's the only thing you heard at dinner.
From dust to dust. Huh? From dust you was made, and to dust you go back.
That's the only part you hear.
Dust to dust.
Dust to dust. I'm telling you, that right there put chills in my back, because Adam got the worst of the curse. Not the woman, but Adam did.
But see, here's the thing though.
Hold on for a second. Creed. Adam, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was saying that Eve came from from out of Adam, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in essence, Eve represented Adam.
Say it again?
She came from out of Adam,
Right.
Eve, right?
Right.
So in essence, she represents him.
Right. Not in essence, she does.
Well, yeah, she does.
Yeah, listen.
So, you know, thing is, why didn't anything just, you know, happen to her?
Well, nothing's going to happen to her. Nothing's going to happen to her because the command never went to her. Again, you saw what God said. I told you not to eat of the fruit. You, not Eve. I never spoke to Eve. Eve wasn't even around when I spoke to you. She has no clue. Now, Adam told Eve not to do it because Eve told the serpent what God had said. Obviously, she knew she should not have done that because Adam told her what not to be done. He gave her the rule, what God had told her not to. God told me, honey, that we should not eat of this fruit because the day we eat of this fruit, we shall die. Did he really?
Larry.
Yes, he did. So if I were you, I wouldn't touch it. Yes, Melissa.
I read in one of Ellen White's books, I believe it was From Dusk Till Dawn, one of the books in her E.G. Wright writings, where the angels personally came down and spoke to both of them and warned them both and told them that Satan was coming and that he would try to trick them into doing things of his will.
Right.
So
Right.
she did know. It's just that she disobeyed. She wanted the gift that Satan was saying that if she eat of the fruit, she wanted that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But
she did want the knowledge.
Yeah, I did read that the angels came down and warned them both and warned her not to leave her husband's side.
Right. We're coming to that. You're going to be confirmed, my sister. You will be confirmed. The great cover-up. So communicating effectively begins with discovering what? Transparency. You have to be transparent in order to be having good communication. So for all of us men, we are having a problem with that. For a lot of us women, we do have a problem with that. Okay? Transparency in marriage is described in Genesis before the fall. The man and his wife were both what? Changed. So there was transparency. Adam and Eve were without disguise or covering, without any mask. They were uncovered physically, and they did not cover up emotionally. Before the fall, Adam and Eve were a picture of true, what we call true transparency. There is not ever true transparency. I don't know. Somebody can come and tell me that. There is not ever, because we live in a world of sin. So being real, open to each other, and unafraid of rejection. Okay? Now, yes, Autumn, quickly.
I was gonna say, if God didn't tell Eve to eat the fruit, then why was she naked?
That's a very good question. Again, you have to get to the vault, spin around, we'll come back to you with a better answer, okay? Okay. But after the fall, we read that they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves loin coverings. Those famous fig leaves aprons were only part of their cover-up. Sin introduced a lot more than modesty. It also brought deceit, lying, trickery, half-truths, manipulation, misrepresentation, distortion, hatred, jealousy, control, and many other vices, all causing us to wear masks, or all causing us to cover up. Now we are covering up. So when we come to a marriage, a relationship, are we naked or are we covered up? Because of our clothes, baby. Yeah, we're wrapped up, covered up, and tied up. Should you unwrap? You should be coming unwrapped already. But we like to come covered up. In our honeymoons, we come covered up. We're supposed to be uncovered.
We have the knowledge.
We got to be uncovered. Yes.
If God tells Adam and Eve to eat the fruit, they can eat it. But if he don't tell them to eat it,
They're not supposed to eat it.
and they eat it,
They get in trouble. Right.
they don't go to heaven.
That's right. Any question? Okay. So the warning. This is the warning. My brother over there, the blue shirt. Revelation chapter 17, verse 12. For those of you online, Revelation chapter 17, verse 12 and 13. Okay? And it goes like this. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe. When you see the word W-O-E, what does that mean? It means that there is something's about to happen. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knows that he hath but a short time. Verse 13 says, and when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man.
Right.
That's not the right scripture. 17 verse.
No.
10? Did I put 12 and 13? Sorry. 10? Verse 7, it's 10, right? 10 and 11. Yes, 10 and 11. That's my fault. I put it wrong. I was hungry. Sorry about that. I shall make a change. Verse 10 says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Okay?
That's still wrong.
Yeah. Verse 17. 17. Sorry, 12. I put the wrong thing. Sorry, my bad. Thank you. So bad. Everybody, Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12. I don't know why I was in 17. Revelation 17 is wrong. I was hungry. Yes. Revelation chapter 12, I typed in 17, not 2, verse 7. I'm still hungry. All right. Therefore, rejoice, ye heavens. Those online, hey, Loida, it's okay. Those online who are watching Revelation chapter 12, not 17, forgive me. I typed in the wrong thing. 12, verse 12 through 13. Okay. Therefore, rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and to the end of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knows that his time is short. Verse 13 says, and the dragon saw that he was cast out of the earth unto the earth. He persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. So basically, the dragon, who is what? Called what? The devil, because in verse 7, 8, you clearly see who is called the devil, right? And the dragon and Satan. Satan means what? No? Huh? No? What does Satan? What? No? What does Satan stand for? What does it mean? No? The adversary of God. God's adversary. That's what Satan means. Okay? All right. So we got the warning. So what really happened? Well, let's tell the story of what really happened. Melissa, are you listening to the story, Melissa? Melissa, are you listening to the story, Melissa? Are you there? Melissa's gone. Okay.
No, I'm here. I'm just
Okay.
doing some research.
Here's the story, Melissa. Can you sit down, please? The angels warned them to be on their guard against the devices of Satan, for his efforts to ensnare them would be unwary. While they were obedient to God, the evil one could not harm them. For if need be, every angel in heaven would be sent to their help. The angels had cautioned Eve to beware of separating herself from her husband while occupied in their daily labor in the garden. With him, she would be in less danger from the temptation than if she were alone. Why is that?
Because together they're stronger and separate they're weaker.
Let's look at buying timeshare for a second. Normally, when you get a phone call from these timeshare people, they don't just call the man. They want the man and the wife. When you do go to look at the timeshare, who do they really and truly, 90% of the time, who do they talk to? The wife. Why do they talk to the wife? Aesthetically, things are, and they appeal to the what? Emotion of the wife. Whereas the man, you know, what is he thinking?
No.
Huh? No. Or the bottom line. What's the bottom? What's this gonna cost me? I don't care how the rooms look. I really don't care what the bathroom looks like and the facilities and all the golf outings. What does this gonna cost me? And then what happens is when they're ready for the pitch of the sale to be concluded, then the wife looks at the husband with these beautiful eyes and she goes, I really like it. And the husband goes, it don't really matter. But they're petitioning the wife to get to whom? The husband. Oh, that's why. So you, doesn't make sense. So you see why it was better for Eve to stay with whom? Because it was they were stronger together, but Adam also knew that who he could call on. Had it been that they were together and something happened where Satan tried to beguile the two of them, Adam could quickly make a call. Okay? So, with Adam, she would be in less danger from the temptation than if she were alone. But absorbed in her pleasing task, he unconsciously wandered from his side. She unconsciously wandered from his side. On perceiving that she was alone, she felt an apprehension of danger in the perfect world, but dismissed her fears, deciding that she had sufficient wisdom and strength to discern evil and to withstand it. But again, she never got anything from God to even give her the inclination that she had sufficient wisdom. Why is it that when she did get there and she saw the fruit, that Satan says it's going to give you what? It's going to give you wisdom. So what really happened? That looks pretty, doesn't it look pretty? Autumn, doesn't the fruit look nice on that tree? It sure does, doesn't it?
Sparkling.
Sparkling, doesn't it? Yes,
But fruits don't really look sparkling.
Oh, we don't know that. I've seen some sparkling fruit.
Sparkling candy.
Oh, okay, all right. The fruit was very beautiful. And she questioned with herself why God had withheld it from them. Now was the tempter's opportunity. As if he were able to discern the workings of a mind, he addressed her. He said, yeah, have God said? Now, you see how slick the devil is? Did he question her thought pattern in the negative or in the positive? In the positive. What's the first word? What was the first word you see there? Yay. Yeah. That's the positive. And it's a question. Yes. He didn't say no, did God tell you? He said yes. Did God tell you that you should not eat of every fruit or every tree of the garden? That's slippery right there. Because were they not eating of fruits in the garden? Were they eating of other trees? So he's asking her a question that's obvious. Very good. Because if I could put doubt into your mind to make you do what? Think. The thought process, and now you're going to question, it quickly catches you. So now he got her. Did God say that you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And Eve was surprised and startled as she thus seemed to hear the echo of her own thoughts. Eve, really believed the words of Satan, but her belief did not save her from the penalty of the sin. What was her response to Satan when he asked her that question? What was her response? So now she responded in the affirmative with the instruction that she got from Adam. Okay? Yeah.
No.
Okay. Thanks for the fruit there, Phil.
Larry.
Yes.
The interesting thing, now that you said what you said at the beginning of where God told Adam exclusively, look at this, he didn't tell Eve.
He never did.
I know, but I'm just saying it still even continues the trickery of some sort of the serpent, because she said in the affirmative, yeah, but Satan knew God never told her directly.
Right. That's a good outlook too. Because the question was, have God said you shall not eat of every tree?
Right.
That's the question.
Oh, and then she said Adam told me.
No, she never said Adam. She
Right.
just answered in the affirmative as yes. He said that we can eat of every tree but this one. You see? So God still never told her anything, but it's what came from Adam.
Right.
Okay? So the serpent plucked the fruit of the forbidden tree and placed it in her hand, in the hands of Eve, in the hands of the half-reluctant Eve. Now, look what happens. Perceiving no evil results from what she had done, Eve grew what? Bolder. Now, you take one bite of the fruit, it tastes delicious. Goodness gracious, I can see that she's going, my gracious, this thing tastes delicious. I'm gonna take 5 more fruits, put it in my basket, or put it in my, just wrap it up. Well, she was naked. What am I gonna put it? I'm gonna put it in a basket or whatever. Put in a leaf or whatever she's carrying, right? She got more fruits. Put it in her arms. I'm gonna just stack them up right here. Okay, all right, my husband gotta taste this thing. She got bolder when she saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes. Oh my goodness, how many of us see food and we gotta see food and then eat the food just because it looks good? That looks good, man. Oh man. Andrew, where you at? Andrew's good for that. That looks good. I gotta get that right there.
Yeah, I was thinking that, man, all them fruits.
That's true.
Very good, Kiki. Very good. All right, so she saw it was pleasant to the eyes. The tree was designed to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof, and she did eat it. It was grateful to the taste, and as she ate, she seemed to feel a vivifying power, and imagined herself entering upon a higher state of existence. What does that to people? Drugs. Euphoria. But drugs cause the state of euphoria. Okay? So you can say she was what? High. But you can see that she was in a sense of euphoria. She was in a sense of euphoria. Okay? The feeling that she had was euphoric. Without a fear, she plucked and ate. So not only she's really going at it. And now having herself transgressed, she became the agent. Now you see why, Ty? You see why her punishment was what it was? She herself became an agent of Satan in working the ruin of her husband. In a state of strange, unnatural excitement, with her hands filled with forbidden fruit. Oh, she was going. Huh? She couldn't get enough.
That brings me to see why it's very important for the wives to be certain kind of ways towards their husband.
Not just towards the husband, but as we go through the study, we're going to see that the reasons for the roles, why they're so important, is because God understood if you don't want what took place in Eden, in your home, here's what I need for you to do. Here are the roles I need for you to follow. But today, as it gets old, as we grow older, and as this world gets older and older, women are now becoming more feministic. I'm talking about feminism.
Oh.
Not the fact that you're feminine.
Oh, okay.
But feminism is now the push, big time push. It happened back in the early 20s, in the 1920s. It happened back during the period of Rome, pagan Rome, or the Roman Empire. When the suffrage of women became a thing in the Roman Empire fell. In the early 1900s, in Russia, when the suffrage of women during the World War I became a thing, a lot of things started imploding in terms of Russia. Russia imploded and destroyed. They destroyed the Tsar system in Russia. Okay? This is historical data. Yes. Speak up, speak up.
We learned about
Yes, they were, because they started coming out. They had a whole coming out political march and movement against the political system in Russia to topple the czars, because that was what was leading Russia back then. Okay, in 1920s, and then they brought in what? Soon the czars fell. What came into Russia? What was the movement that came into Russia? What ism came into Russia? Communism was brought into Russia as soon as the czar system fell. So when you see that there is a push for feminism in a country, in a country, in a government, in a system, believe me, sooner enough that government will do what? Fall. Because it happened where? In Eden. She became the agent of Satan, working the ruin of her husband in a state of strange, unnatural excitement, with her hands filled with forbidden fruit. She sought his presence. That means she was not with him. She went to look for him and related all that had occurred. An expression of sadness. If he knew not to eat the fruit, then why did he do it? An expression of sadness came over the face of Adam. He saw the fruit in her hand. He appeared astonished and alarmed. To the words of Eve, he replied that this must be the foe against whom they had been warned. And by the divine sentence, she must do what? Die. Who knew that she was going to die? Adam, by divine. He knew that if you eat of that fruit, you shall surely God. In answer, and this is what he's telling her. Why? You can probably see Adam's face like, really? Why? And then he's looking at her like, oh my goodness. And she's there looking like this. No, it's good. Come on, eat it. As beautiful as she is. In answer, she urged him to do what? Eat. She's now forcing him. No, honey, take it. It's good. Repeating the words of the serpent, that they shall not surely, you shall be as gods, knowing right from wrong and good from evil. You knew what's right based upon the law and the government that God has provided you in. So you already knew what was wrong. What was wrong was to be eaten of the tree. Hold on, go ahead.
I have a question. So when she brought the fruit, was she naked? Like, did she like know? Like
she was naked.
So like, how did
what? How did she bring the fruit?
No, like she wasn't ashamed. She just like
no, because nothing happened to her.
It wasn't from her.
It didn't. What? Life does not come through the woman. I'm gonna say that again, Facebook. Life does not come from the woman. No coincidence. The half-bitten apple is the logo for the iPhone. Just like Lucifer did Eve, they placed one in everyone's hand. I'm just saying, Phil. I'm gonna say I might agree with you on that, Phil. We might, if I had some hearts, I might plug some hearts with Phil. That's a great comment, Phil. Great comment. But I'm gonna say this again. Life does not come from the woman. It doesn't come through. Life comes through the woman from the man. I'm just gonna rephrase that. Life comes from the man. Okay? So because life comes from the man, yes, everything that has to happen is because of the man. Okay? She reasoned that this must be true, for she felt what? No evidence of God's displeasure, but on the contrary, realized a delicious, exhilarating influence, thrilling every faculty with new life. Such she imagined and inspired the heavenly message. She was feeling great. She said, I feel great, honey. Eat the fruit. You're gonna feel the same thing. And he's looking at her like, wait, she's not dead yet. She ate 5 of them. She ate 5 of them things. Right. She's not dead. Baby, how much did you eat? How much did you eat? I just ate 7 of them. 7? You ate 7? You ain't dead yet? I wonder if maybe that's all it took. Adam understood that his companion had transgressed the command of God, disregarded the only prohibition laid upon them as a test of their fidelity and love. There was a terrible struggle in his mind. How much did you eat, baby? I ate 7. You ate 7? And you still alive, huh? Turn around, look at you, baby. You got for your heartbeat?
Why she gotta turn around?
Well, he gotta see, make sure nothing's falling off of her. Is your hair dying? Is your fingernails? I mean,
We don't say that.
babe, come on now. He's making sure that nothing dies on her. Okay? Look at his face. That's when he asked her to turn around. Turn around, baby. Let me see what's going on with you. There was a terrible struggle in his mind. He mourned that he had permitted Eve. What? Permitted? Permitted?
Yes, because he was with her.
To wander from his side. But now the deed was done. He must be separated from her whose society has been his joy. Imagine you with this woman and this, y'all are talking and you understand each other. Y'all are both naked and not ashamed. But guess what though? You know, I always go back to this. After the marriage, there must have been a consummation,
He
a
didn't know
holy
her. He
consummation.
didn't know her properly. That's why she went.
I'm sorry? My wife, something's wrong somewhere. Something happened. Something happened to my wife just a moment ago. She must be rebooted. Are you? You're not kidding. You got to be kidding. After marriage, that consummation of holiness that brought them closer together is the reason why. Huh?
That's just it wasn't proper.
It was proper. That's the reason why this man.
Proper, she would have been. They would have been together.
No. If it was improper, he might have asked her, God, look, Lord, look, you know what? This.
I think the point they're trying to make is he knew that she was going to die, and he just did not want her to die.
Right. We know that. But this has been my thought. This holy matrimony and holy coming together as one had to be an amazing thing. That's why men die for it today. Men kill each other for it today. A lot of stuff happened for that today. Money is being spread out today because of that. So if that was that today,
Samson got shaved.
Samson plucked out 2 eyes and head shaved. There's a lot going on because of that. So undefeated is what it is. Undefeated.
Larry?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, the interesting thing about that, though, is looking at many of the marriages and the mindsets of people now versus Adam and Eve, where Eve took of this. Adam said, oh my goodness, you're about to die. And he was willing, to whatever degree, to it's like he sacrificed also his own self and situation to be on her level. Whereas now, one person sit there and eat of an apple, and the other one's like, deuces, sorry.
In a way, it was that was his love for her. That was selfless, right?
Are you asking the question?
I mean, yeah, he was that. I mean, ultimately, he was being selfless. Like, her.
Oh my gosh. That's the reason why Jesus said, I believe it's in John, it's the book of John. Jesus says, the person who loves his wife more than me is going to die. The person who loves their husband more than me is not worthy of me. They're going to die.
Christ sacrificed
Not his purpose.
Go ahead.
Doing his job because he was supposed to watch her. He was supposed to keep her close. He was
Right.
supposed to protect her.
Right.
But instead, he didn't do his job. He was an enabler.
Oh.
He didn't do his job.
He's not enabling. He's not enabling now. Watch this. How could he have thus? Adam had enjoyed the companionship of God and the holy angels. He had looked upon the glory of the Creator. He understood the high density open to the human race should they remain faithful to God. Yet all these blessings were lost sight of in the fear of losing the one gift which his eyes outvalued every other. Outvalued. You know the Creator. You've spoken with him. You commune with him. And you're telling me the woman outvalued that? You rather die. And here was the word that Renee used. Stoop down to the level of the transgression in which she caused. That's the problem. That's not love and sacrifice.
That's not Christ's sacrifice.
That's not Christ's sacrifice. That's the fall in which we marry. fall all the time. So when a man says, I've fallen in love with you, woman, you better watch out. Because we fall a lot for women. I ain't gonna lie, we fall for women a lot. Women, man, look, again, if God had anything better than a woman, he kept it for himself. Fall again. The great decision that Adam had to make, it was a great decision. Watch this. Love, gratitude, loyalty to the Creator. All were overborne by the love to Eve. She was part of himself, and he could not endure the thought of separation. He had separation anxiety. He did not realize the same infinite power who had from the dust of the earth created him in even beautiful form and had love given him a companion could supply her place. He resolved to share her fate. If she must die, he would rather die with her. After all, he reasoned, might not the words of the wise serpent be true? Eve was before him as a beautiful and apparently as innocent as before this act of disobedience. So she's looking the same, gorgeous looking, like woman.
What was that word?
Servant woman. Skillful words. The sound of love. This woman was, I mean, come on now. We gotta look at it from this perspective. We're human beings. Let's not lose our human. We are human beings. Adam saw the physical, and he knew the person she was. She was happy to be with him. It was only them two. And that's who they were, naked and unashamed. And this man loved his wife. But guess what he did? He put in front of God, he put her. And because of that, when he's looking at her, he's like, you ate 7 of those fruits and you still look the same, baby. You know, maybe he's not, maybe he's right. Maybe he's not, you know, maybe the serpent was right. Maybe God may have changed a law somewhere. Isn't that what we do today? God has changed a law. God has changed a law. Maybe he knew that God, maybe God told him that he changed the law. She expressed greater love for him. Ooh, she expressed greater love. Ooh, baby, you eat the fruit. Maybe you can go to that tree. What's the tree that we like to go sit under all the time? You can come with me tonight. You can get to know me more and better. I'm just saying. I'm just giving you maybe I don't know. I wasn't there. But she expressed greater love for him than before.
The
whole deception. Now, who's working her? Satan. Working her now. That's the reason why in Proverbs chapter 5, my son, verse 3, my son, be aware of the woman whose what? Lips drop as what? Honeycomb. Sweet. But she would die like a wormwood. No sign of death appeared in her, and he decided to brave the consequences. He seized the fruit and he quickly ate it. Why did he expect that? After his transgression, Adam at first imagined himself entering into a higher state of existence. But soon the thought of his sin filled him with terror. The air, which had hitherto been of a mild and uniform temperature, seemed to chill the guilty pair. Ooh, you felt that, baby? Felt a little chill. I don't know where that came from. I've never felt that before. The love and peace which had been theirs was gone, and in its place they felt a sense of sin a dread of the future, a nakedness of soul. The robe of light which had enshrouded them now disappeared, and to supply its place they endeavored to fashion for themselves a covering, for they could not, while unclothed, meet the eye of God and the holy angels. Wait a minute, you've been meeting God and the holy angels unclothed the whole time. All of a sudden now you're like, I gotta put some, maybe you gotta put some, what's that? Cover that up. Put some clothes on. God's gonna ask you what that is. Is he really? He made you. Now the figures, they're covering themselves up. Shameful now. Now they're ashamed of each other. It's their first time seeing each other naked, so they don't even know what's going on. They don't know who is what with what. What is that? What's the name of that? What's upstairs? What's that called? What do you call that? I don't know. What do you want to call it? You name the animals. Let's call it milk. They now begin to see the true character of their sin. Adam reproached. What's the word reproach mean? Disapprove, right? He reproached his companion for her folly in leaving his side. Now he's like, look, why you left my side? I'm really upset that you left my side. You should have never left. You can see now this never happened. They're arguing now. Leaving his side and permitting herself to be deceived by the serpent. Now he's really hitting her now. Okay? It's always the woman's fault. Every man. You messed it up. Just pointing at the woman, just hitting her with this all day long. Okay? But they both flattered themselves, and you can see them talking to each other. Maybe God, maybe right. Maybe God might not even, maybe he might forgive. Maybe he might say, you know what? I did tell the serpent, and don't worry about it, guys. You're okay. Okay? This is what they're saying. They flatter themselves that he who had given them so many evidences of his love would pardon this one transgression, or that they would not be subject to so dire a punishment as they had feared. And here we are in conclusion, because come next week, you're going to start seeing the reasons why we have problems in our marriages. Yes, Autumn?
I was going to say on the other page that Adam and Eve were already naked.
You're right. Your intuitiveness really shocks me at your age. But I'm glad that God has given you wisdom to see and understand all of what you see. You want to continue with the Bible classes? Yeah. Good. In conclusion, Satan exalted in his success. He had tempted the woman to distrust God's love, to doubt his wisdom, and to transgress his law. And through her, he had caused the overthrow of Adam. Eve was told of the sorrow and pain that must henceforth be her portion. And the Lord said, your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over thee. In creation, God had made her the equal of Adam. Had they remained obedient to God, in harmony with his great law of love, they would ever have been in harmony with each other. But sin had brought discord, and now their union could be maintained and harmony preserved only by submission on the part of one or the other. So here is the thing about this submission, and we're going to talk about this next week. But I want to bring this to light, because today, this day that we're living in, women are fighting for one word. What is that word? Equality. They are fighting for equality. Would it ever happen? No. I'm sorry, guys. You know, and those of you who are my friends who may feel a little differently, please continue being my friend. Don't unfriend me because I'm telling the truth. The Bible tells the truth, and the truth is the truth. That's it. Because of man's fall, because of what happened way back in the original day, Eve became a little lower than the man. Her desire has to be to her husband, and her husband shall rule over her. Not that it means with a, you know, a stick or a bat or, you know, like he's beat. That's not, and because of that, the woman, men have taken this to a whole nother level. And because of sin, that's why the women hate men now. I don't want a man. I don't need a man. Hence the reason why women are going after women now. Because men, there's no love from the man. We don't understand how to love our wives. We don't understand how to love our children. We don't understand what love really is. We who are this emotionless creature or being who don't understand emotion tries to be emotional, but yet we don't know how to do it. We have to, because you know why? When Damien was younger, when my son was younger, we teach him how to be what? Tough. Don't cry. Shut up with the crying. We take away their emotions. Go back out there and fight that dude. Don't come over here crying to me. We take away their emotion. And as we take away their emotion as boys, you know, as boys grow up with other boys, you can't be a sissy around other boys. It's hard to be a boy and show some emotion. And then, oh, it gets worse. If you are showing your emotion, then you're gay. It's hard for a boy, huh, growing up. Huh, Damien? And then all of a sudden, by the time you reach an age where you are dating and, you know, by the time you get to dating age, now your homeboys are like, yo, you got that girl in check? Do you have her in check? Yeah, check your girl. And he goes over there, yo, stop over that over there. Am I wrong, Damien? I'm right? Okay. So this is exactly what happens. We all lost footing. Eve lost ground to Adam, and Adam lost ground to Lucifer. Shaking my head. Yeah, we've been slipping all the way, Phil. All the way. But we don't see what we do. We don't see the cycle that we're building with our young men. Our young men are growing up emotionless. So by the time they come, and then get this, the girls are growing with more emotion. So here it is that, you know, the mothers talk to the girls, they all cry together. You know, in my house, I got 2 girls crying all the time. Oh my gosh. I already said I don't want to see what happens during menstruation day. If it all happens on one day, or that month comes, it will happen. I need to dig a bigger hole. But my man cave has to be a real cave with a stone that I need to cover with. Because I don't understand, and I would not understand how to deal with it.
But that's a God thing, right? You need to ask.
God, okay, you're right. No, I need to go down that cave and in my quiet time, get on my knees. And start now. Yeah. Thank you very much. My brother, you have no kids yet, you're married, but when you get to that point, you have to have girls. Have a voice agreement to me. Okay.
It's not gonna help.
But in conclusion, guys, I just want to bring that out there, that we are, you know, when the woman gets to a point where she's now looking for a man, they're looking for men. But today's world, in our era, women are not looking for men. They're not looking for a man. What they are looking for is a guy.
So I disagree with that to some extent.
Come on with the disagreement.
So
come on, child.
Looking for a man's man with a godly mentality.
No,
right?
yeah, but I'm saying they're not looking for a, when I say man's man, I'm talking about a man, a God-fearing man.
But that's what I'm saying. So you are looking for a man who's God-fearing.
Most women are?
Yes, but if you're a Christian, how about that?
Okay.
If you're of the world, you're just looking for a looks.
Oops. Okay. A boops. Oh. I know that means a boops. Yes, I know that means boops. Okay.
Looking for somebody who's gonna,
Yeah.
take care of whatever.
I'm listening again.
But I think it's really hard to find that person.
Well, because men are not men.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Men are not men. Men are supposed to be working that ground, making sure that we go out there and be men, provide and protect our family, go out there and make something happen, using our hands. Again, here's the problem though. It's a twofold problem because many wives hold back their men, hold back their husbands. They want to, the woman wants to be so much in control and the man sits back. Well, honey, she's independent. Let her do it. And the man sits back and he's happy to do so. And he just becomes lazy. And then years later, the woman goes, he does nothing. Well, baby, that's how it started. I never did anything.
But it goes back to the point of what we said earlier, right? Because those men do not have an example of what the standard is or what God has already set for them.
Right.
There's a lot of times you look back, even growing up in the church, right? You see people from a distance and their expectations versus their reality in their home are totally different.
Right, you're right.
So I think what is missing is the example that God has set, that our people are actually living and emulating.
Right.
I think what you said about men are not being men, and men need to start being men, and women need to start being women, and wives need to start being wives.
Right.
If you have a man that's trying to be a man in the home, and the woman wants to be the man, it's going to be always conflict.
Right.
Sometimes the man will sit back and say, I don't want to fight, so I'm just going to let it go. So sometimes the woman has a part to play in what happens.
I think we all, in terms of the woman and the man, have a part to play in that. Here's the situation. There's a lot of variables in all of this, a lot of moving parts, because you have women who are raising boys, okay? And they're raising boys, and then you have a husband in the house, children with the wife is there, but the father he's there, but he's not there. It's the woman that's running everything. So what happens is when they get older and they become into an age of marriage, the daughters saw that mommy ran everything in the home, so they come into a house of a man who saw his father run everything. You already have contention, okay? The other thing is, if the wife grew up where her father ran everything, and the boy grows up in a fatherless home, the woman is looking for the man to be a man and run things in the home, but he's like, that's not what I do. You know, that's not what I do. You know, mama, my mom ran everything. You can run it. So there's a lot more variables into that, a lot more to play into that, and that's why I want to talk about that next week. Roles of the husband, roles of the wives. What does God say about those things? Because here it is, we have a problem. We don't want to give up anything because we come into the marriage covered. At least we know that we have a problem. We are all covered. All of us. Brandy, you're not married yet? You're not married yet? Huh? But you're covered. Now say what?
She said you don't get married. I said, I wouldn't say that.
No.
With your eyes open.
When you do get married, don't do like we did. Now you know the truth. You got to come uncovered. Okay? Okay? Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the conclusion of our study, and I want to go more. I want to go in depth but time is of the essence, and we're kind of late. But next week I have to take it from the beginning and build it up. I don't want to just jump right into it, because if we jump right into it, we won't have a good, strong foundation. Now we know that marriage was a perfect, honorable thing. And then something happened. It broke up somewhere in between because of sin. And now because of sin, we have a lot of different variables as to why marriages are not strong. And our marriages need to be stronger because our houses need to be in order. Again, Before the Passover happened in Egypt, the blood over the doorposts, God told Moses, speak to the men of their households and tell them to get their house in order. Ladies and gentlemen, what is happening right now in terms of present truth? We cannot make a move before the Exodus out of Egypt. Prior to the Passover, Israel could not make a move until this, guess what? Their houses were in order. So for those of us who are moving to the country, mountains, all that kind of good stuff, whatever we want to do, before Christ's return, we cannot make a move unless our houses are in order. And it starts with the husband. It starts with the father. Because he is the house band. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I'm glad you guys were there. Those of us who joined online, just hit the hearts on Facebook. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you got something out of that. I pray that you did. And I'm looking to, we're going to be doing about 2 or 3 more series. My boy Devontae's, I'm about to put him on blast because I'm still waiting for
Put it together.
holidays and what? And birthdays?
Holidays and birthdays.
Okay, but that's all part of the family umbrella. So the family umbrella finishes in the middle of April. Okay, so we're going to need to have you put that together before then. And at the end of April, I believe Taisha starts a whole new series. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and pray, bow our heads and close our eyes and close out. I don't want to be too late because I think I'm about 15 minutes over. But thank you guys. God bless you for those who joined online. This was great, and I pray that you have received something from it. Thank you for the hearts that went up. Let's bow our heads and close our eyes. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we want to thank you again for another wonderful lesson. Just to kind of go through and break it down, to see what exactly, why we're here in this position. Why are we in this position? Everything has an origin. Everything has an origin. And because we're here in this position, we now know what our needs are. Some of us entered into marriages unmatched. Some of us entered into marriages not knowing certain things. All of us entered into marriages covered. No transparency whatsoever. But now that we've learned the truth, Lord Jesus, help us, Lord, to take off the fig leaves as you did for Adam and for Eve. And let us use your sacrifice as our covering, as you did for Adam and for Eve. And by that we will know that you have covered us with your righteousness. Bless each and every one of us who are here physically. I pray for their safe travel mercies home. I thank you for those who join us on Facebook Live and for those who join us on YouTube Live and on Hangouts. Bless and keep their homes. And let us get our houses in order. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. Again, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in every Friday. Unless something's going on, I'll let you know. But every Friday, I want to tune in. It's going to get better and better. All right? We're good at getting better by God's grace. Thank you. Have a good night.